You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey all, welcome to the Cards to the Moon podcast. This is episode 141, and it is another Friday episode, which I hope you'll enjoy over the weekend. My name is Clark from 5 Card Guys on Instagram and 5cardguys.com. And with me, as usual, is John, who is Trade You at Recess. Hyung is off for the next couple of weeks because he's playing in a baseball tournament in New York City. So we wish him the best of luck. But filling in for Hyung today is our reliable backup co-host, Will. So Will, glad to have you back on.
Always a pleasure.
All right. So today we actually have another special guest interview. His name is Mark Hill, who is the founder of My Card Post, which is a sports card marketplace that runs on a subscription model, which means no seller fees. You know, we think competition in the hobby is always a good thing, so definitely stick around for that interview with Mark of My Card Post coming up in just a few minutes. But off the top today, guys, if you haven't heard, Victor Wembanyama is in North America. Actually, he's in New York City too, so maybe Hyung will run into him. I'm sure he's hard to miss. But no, Wemby is actually in town, of course, for the NBA draft happening tonight as we record this episode. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently if you bet $60,000 on Wemby being drafted by the Spurs, your payout is $300. So, would you have done that? $60K for a $300 payout. It was pretty much a sure thing, though, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, he is going to play for the Spurs. But anyway, before the draft, he made the opening pitch at a Yankees game, and of course, there is a Topps Now relic card of the Yankees jersey he wore to that game. So there was 1,137 Topps Now relic cards made, which includes all the different variations, starting with the most common, numbered to 499, and all the way down to a 1-of-1 relic card. But the interesting thing is that this Topps Now card, it was sold for $200 each, but you don't know which variation card you'll get until it's shipped out to you. Right, so it's sold out, I think, within the first hour, but it's already being resold on eBay before the card's even been shipped out for about $380. Is the last sold I saw just an hour ago. So, curious about your thoughts. What do you think? Is that a good buy? Are you staying away from this?
John, you go first.
Oh, I'm going first? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for a Topps Now card, I think the idea of you doing the relic first pitch jersey, that's awesome. Like, kudos to Topps. I think that's a fantastic idea. From a business standpoint, you kind of roll your eyes and you go, you understand it, because you're all aboard the Wemby train and you're trying to take advantage at every turn. I understand it, but still an awesome idea. I like it. In terms of would I personally jump on it? No. I think I am 100% off of anything Wemby. No offense to him as a player. I just think the hype is just so incredible. And I don't know. I got to see. I have to watch. Like, I don't see him as generational, right? I don't like generational. We're talking LeBron, right? He's not, I don't know. I'm not seeing enough to say that he's going to be the next top 10 player all time sort of deal. So, I'm not on it at all. But for those that got it at $200 and you're reselling it for double, man, good for you. I think that's do it while you can, because these cards it's cool now, but when Wemby's Topps Chrome comes out and whatnot, these just gonna get completely lost in the shuffle. So yeah, sell it while you can.
Yep, interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of what I feel is kind of what John said. The thing that I don't understand is who is buying Topps Now cards? Because I feel like it's the flippers, and they're making like double their money, right? Investing in this $200 card and they're flipping it for $380. But it's when they market this, is it not for the flippers? Is it for the collectors? Are there people who collect Topps Now cards?
I think there are a lot of collectors
Sure,
for Topps Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna trash it and just be like, oh, this is like pure, like it's purely just like for investments and like for quick flippers and whatever. But it's like when I think about it, there must be collectors who really love collecting these kinds of momentous occasion cards. So that being the case, I can't criticize it. Like, you know what? If you like Topps Now cards, like every once in a while I see postings on Facebook groups where they're trying to sell Topps Now cards. I'm like, well, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Right.
But there must be people who like it. So for them, great. For the flippers, great, because you're gonna make money. For me, none of this makes sense, and I'm not touching any of it.
That's fair.
Is the print run on Topps Now similar to Topps Project, where the print is as many people who basically purchased?
No, I think I don't know, for the base, maybe. Right? There might be a time limit, but then there are parallels to that base card.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That you can pay extra to get for more expensive, right? But the base is printed kind of like Topps Project, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Like it's like $9.99 or something like that, right off the Topps website. I'm not sure if it was the same, if that was the case for this Wemby card. Because
no, it can't be because it's a relic.
I mean, there was a base card without the relic, so they sold that.
Yeah. But this specific
relic card, because to your point, Will, because there's only one jersey that he wore in that game.
Yeah. So it's limited. It's limited to 1137. Exactly. That's what you're saying. That's pretty cool. Like I like the idea of it. I think it's pretty innovative. Yeah. Is this like a Fanatics thing? Like they're bringing, we talked about when Fanatics came in, they can add more jersey stuff and all that. So maybe that's what they're doing, which is great for them, great for the hobby.
It's a good idea. I agree. Do you think it's weird though that his first relic card is a Yankees jersey? Did this like fly by everyone's head?
It does make it unique.
It's a baseball jersey. Okay.
Yeah, it does make it unique. I mean, and it's Topps, and Topps Now mostly. It's almost all baseball, isn't it? Is it not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it makes it unique.
Yeah, I'm personally not touching it either. And I think when it comes to Topps Now, I don't know if a lot of people love just Topps Now in general. I think it depends on what the momentous occasion is, that the Topps Now card is marking, right? So if you're a basketball Wemby fan, this would be kind of cool for you, and you might want to grab one, especially knowing that 1,137 isn't a huge print run, right? Or for a relic card. So I think there are collectors, but definitely there are flippers in there trying to make coin. So we'll see. You know what's going to happen though once it's revealed, right? Like once everyone gets their cards shipped out and you know which parallel you got, the ones that are numbered to $4.99 are going to be way under $100.
Yeah, I could see that.
You're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose, right?
Yeah.
So you're hoping really for like I don't know what other lower number parallels they have. You're hoping for like a 10, 25, 50 at the very least.
Right. And the relic of the patch looks a lot better or whatever, right? I'd assume.
Or yes. And even that, like I if the relic was just everything's kind of pinstripe though. Like how can it be that different unless it's part of the Yankees?
It's not like they have lots of colors
black and white
on for them.
You just hope you don't get just the white part in between the stripes. That would suck. And then the one of one is like the card itself looks, I don't know, golden or I don't think it'd be a super factor. But anyway,
3 stripes.
So. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm sure whoever gets the one of one will show it off on Twitter or on Instagram. So we'll keep an eye out to see who got that. Okay, with that, let's play our interview that we had earlier today with Mark Hill of My Card Post. All right, we've got another special guest interview for today's podcast episode. His name is Mark Hill, and he is the founder of the sports card marketplace called My Card Post. I personally only heard of My Card Post recently when we interviewed Denny_cards. Some of you listeners might remember that interview about a month or so ago. And I'm always interested in alternative sports card marketplaces not named eBay. I think the more competition there is in this space, there are more opportunities for collectors to buy cards and find good deals. So I'm looking forward to learning more about My Card Post. Without further ado, Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Clark. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. All right. Before we get into what My Card Post is about, can you tell us how you personally initially got into the hobby? Like, were you a longtime collector, or did you see the hobby as a good business venture?
Yeah, I think it's like most people, right? We collected as kids and then, had a period of pause, right?
Right.
For me, it was, the junk wax era. And then, right before pre-COVID, I got like reintroduced to it just out of the blue. My brother-in-law happened to be visiting and just started talking to me about the hobby. And, we were on eBay looking at all these cards and, it just brought me back and I wanted to just jump right back in. I got so excited. I've moved a lot and I always carried a box of cards with me that I've had as a kid.
Nice.
I collected Brett Hull and Ken Griffey Jr. cards and stuff. So I immediately started pulling them out and seeing what I have and looking up comps and, they weren't in great condition and none of them were worth too much, but
right.
That kind of got me right back into it. So, yeah.
Cool. So very similar stories with a lot of our guests. We collected as kids, a big break in between, and then right before the pandemic, out of nostalgia, a lot of us out of nostalgia got back into it. We'll get into this, but I'm curious because before I forget to ask, when you look at My Card Post, there's a lot of hockey cards. Are you guys based in Canada or the U.S.?
No, I'm in California.
Okay.
I am a hockey player, so I do play hockey. I played in college, and I still play today in men's league.
Yeah.
And was mostly as I got back into hockey, I was into the hockey cards. So I started, collecting hockey cards, buying the ones that I wanted. I was trying, getting PSA 10s of all these cards. And then as I started down the My Card Post building journey, I was just building up a following on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, cards that I was buying, and that was kind of my avenue to build up somewhat of a following on social media. So I had a community to launch this to down the road when I was ready. But being that I was sharing a lot of hockey cards, I ended up making most of my early relationships in the hockey card community.
Okay.
And, as I launched My Card Post on day one, it was boom, hey, hockey collector community, here it is. And they all came in and, it's been running since then. So yes, it is very heavy hockey. I think we're just under like 70% hockey cards, but that's, one of the things we're really working on to balance out the marketplace for the other categories. So.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know because our podcast, we're based out of Canada, so I was curious. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of hockey cards. Maybe he's Canadian, but good to clarify.
There is a lot of Canadian members, though. That's the beauty of it. It is U.S. and Canada are both welcome to join, and there is, I don't know what the exact balance is, but there's quite a bit of Canadian members in the platform.
Nice. That kind of answered one of my later questions. So, so actually, let's cycle back. When did you first come up with the idea of for My Card Post, and why did you want to provide another sports card marketplace?
Yeah, I know. Most people would probably think, I'm crazy, right? You probably need another marketplace. There's so many of them already. I think I've always just been like a problem solver. I always, whether it's my own personal experiences or, some challenge someone else is describing with something, I always just immediately go towards there must be a better way, right? Mm-hmm. There has to be a better way. And I start to iterate on it and brainstorm on it and I come up with ideas. And I've had like different random product ideas over the past. And some of them I got to like design stages and prototype stages, but I never took them all the way.
Right.
So I think, for My Card Post, it was really just based upon the personal experiences I was having as I got back into the hobby. We're having to, of course, we're doing most of this on eBay, right? We're buying and selling.
Yeah.
And I think some of the challenges I was experiencing were you have to be very careful what you say, how you communicate with somebody and the messaging, because, nobody wants to get suspended, their account suspended.
Sure.
And so many people are trying to, subtly get you off of eBay to try to do the deal offline. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, why?
Right.
Why is this the case? And then there was more around just, how much you'd have to spend to purchase the card, right? Because you have to buy it at premium because sellers are sitting there looking at like, well, if I sell it for X, I'm going to get Y. So you're having to navigate this, buying these cards at a premium. And then you can't flip them back on eBay because, you've already, if it was $100 card, you spent $130 to acquire it.
Right.
Now you have to sell it for like 185 just to, after fees to even make $1, right?
That's right.
Just
Yeah.
numbers. So it was all of this, and we couldn't trade. The only places where we could do trading, which we all loved as kids, right, was to travel across the country or to go to local card shows or big card conventions, and you just can't do that every day or every weekend. Especially for me, I'm a father of 2 young kids. I can't just pop off and fly across the country every week. So, and I just explored the market, and there wasn't a good place that existed that kind of solved all of these problems. So, back to my there must be a better way thing. I just started thinking about it, and I just had this light bulb moment, which was, what if there was a marketplace that didn't have the fee-based model? That was the Netflix model, if you will, right? Subscription, a small fixed monthly subscription. That in of itself eliminates all the other barriers that we're experiencing in these other marketplaces. Now we can build relationships. Now we can get to know each other. Now we can communicate freely. We don't have to worry about all these nickel and diming of fees. So I can buy, as a buyer, I'm going to get a better price because you're not worried about losing the thing. And as a seller, you're willing to give me a better price because you know that the delta is going to be much tighter.
Right.
So, I mean, this was all of the reasons and things that I was thinking about. And then I just started putting one foot in front of the other, and here we are.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, no, that's, you kind of made note of it. I haven't seen a marketplace that is this kind of subscription model. But before I asked a follow-up question to that, like, are you in the website, the tech space? Like, how did you even how are you even able to kind of launch this marketplace online?
Yeah, so I'm not a developer. I didn't develop it. I have a team, that did do the development for me. But I am, I do have kind of a tech background in my career. I work in sales for the most part, but I was previously like a technical salesperson, or so I have a history in technology, so I understand it. And again, I think that's just the way my mind works a little bit is, kind of designing and problem solving and, making things like super easy and intuitive. And I don't want to, have a lot of wasted effort in this kind of marketplace. Right. So I'm not a developer coder, but, I think it did help, kind of my background to kind of get it developed and launched the way that we did.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And whenever you hear subscription model, Netflix is kind of the standard these days. We're all kind of used to comparing everything to Netflix when there's a subscription involved. So like Netflix, you guys have different tiers. When I was kind of researching before this interview, you have different tiers that you offer. Can you give us a quick rundown on what they are and what kind of seller would benefit from each tier?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, My Card Post is absolutely free to join. If you just want to go in there and buy the cards and make offers on cards, even make bulk offers on cards from a seller, if they have like 10 cards you're interested in, but you want to propose, a better cash deal for all 10 cards, you can do all of that entirely free. It does not require a subscription.
Nice.
Where the subscription tiers come into play is when you do want to be a seller or trader in the marketplace. So the free tier, you can't do trades. It's just buying only. And we have 3 tiers. So they're literally just $9 a month, $29 a month, and at the highest end, $59 a month. And the big difference is really just the number of cards you can have listed at any given time on the site. So if you're, maybe have a small little collection, you just want to do deals, the basic tier, which is $9 a month, allows you to have 50 cards listed on the site at any given time. So if you sell or trade a couple of cards, you can just replace them with, with whatever else you have, right?
Right.
So that's probably the easiest tier. And then, if you want to get into the next tier, now you can have up to 500 cards on the site, or the highest tier allows you to have up to 2,500 cards on the site. So that's really going to be people that have large inventories, right? But I think for me, I've kind of settled into, and a lot of people are settling into the middle tier, which is more than enough room. Most people have a few hundred cards or more. I have probably 500 plus on there. And it is one of those things that the more cards that you have in the marketplace, the more offers you receive, right? Because there's just more inventory, more variety. As people are coming in, they're finding different things that you have of interest. So that's really it. And so again, it's just a monthly subscription, but there's also the annual plan, which allows you to get any of those tiers prepaid for a 20% discount.
Oh, nice. Okay, good to know. Having interviewed others on this podcast who represent other alternative card platforms, like, for example, Arena Club and even Candy Digital to a certain extent, although it's digital cards we're talking about, I've noticed one of the main or key challenges is to increase the user base so potential buyers can find the cards that they're looking for. How would you say, if this is an issue for you guys too, how would you say that process has been for you of getting more people to sign up?
Yeah, I mean, as anyone who's launching a business, growth, adoption, brand awareness, all that stuff is like that's your number one hurdle in the beginning, right? So we're closing in on 1,200 subscribers or 1,200 members.
Nice.
Those there's free people as well in there, right? But we're closing in on 1,200, and I think we're just around 7 months since we launched this. I launched it really late last year. Um, I think it's been going great. It's not. I don't have like crazy cost or any. It's like I'm not a middleman, right? You're not sending me the card, so I don't have a lot of like major expenses there.
Yeah.
So I think, but I also am bootstrapping this platform, right? So I don't have millions and millions of dollars to hire a large team or to throw a bunch of money at like Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever.
Right.
So it is kind of a community based marketplace and relying on the community to grow it organically, right? So I think while it's a challenge, I'm okay with the pace, right? I don't expect that we're going to have 10, 20, 30,000 people here in the first year. Like it wouldn't be a realistic expectation for me. So
yeah,
I'm happy with where we're at. Of course, you'd always like it to go faster, but that's just, we're also in a little bit of a down market for the hobby, right? So I think, it's gonna ebb and flow. But
sure.
the acquisition of new users is only going to just increase over time.
Yeah, cool.
Every week, those numbers are just going to keep going up. So it is a challenge, but I'm okay with the pace.
Okay, cool. I mean, we talked right before we started actually recording. The reason why I heard, and I kind of said at the top of the show, Denny kind of introduced me to you guys just in passing in our interview. Do you find that's the case a lot of the time? It's kind of word of mouth in terms of growth. Have you heard similar stories like that where it's like, oh, my friend found my card post and you should check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's really interesting is to see, and it kind of blows your mind a little bit when you build something and then you see people that, almost like strangers, right, who have subscribed to your platform. You don't know them, you don't have any relationship with them, but they're out there posting my card post in their story, their Instagram story, or they're sharing it. You see people that have basically like a cookie cutter caption for their Instagram post, like I've started selling on my card post. So it is really amazing. And you do see like, oh, so-and-so invited me to join. I hadn't heard of it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Or, I'm on podcasts like this one. People will reach out to me like, oh, we heard your story on the podcast. Like, we're super excited to, be a part of this community in the early days and really excited to see where it's going to go. So yeah, I think word of mouth absolutely is the largest growth engine for us. And, again, another thing that's just going to increase in volume as more and more members come in. It's just like that multiplier effect, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do like about My Card Post is the ability to trade with other collectors. You kind of mentioned that we can trade with other buyers and sellers there. But of course, the number one concern of trading online on any platform really is to ensure the trades are safe to make and to get rid of scammers if there are any. So I was wondering, how does My Card Post address this safety and security issue?
Yeah, it's the number one question, right? And rightfully so. That is, especially for a brand new marketplace that people are experiencing for the first time. Again, it goes back to the design, right? I did spend a lot of time just iterating around the model, like what would be that better way. And, to be transparent, I did think, maybe in some of the early parts, like, what, I might have to be a middleman. I might have to figure that out where, are people going to trust each other just to send cards, directly to each other? But then the more I got into it, again, it's like that's the design of the subscription model. It's essentially a paywall, which is a deterrent for a lot of fraud scammers, right? They want to go play in all the playgrounds that are free, right? eBay's free. Instagram's free, joining Facebook groups is free. They're going to stay and play in those areas. Not to say that this is bulletproof, because it's not, though, there's, ways that they could come in, but we're definitely keeping a watchful eye. And I think most people in this hobby are honest, ethical people. And that's kind of the foundation that we've built this on. Like, we're building a community, of trusted sellers. There's this subscription wall so that that, hey, I'm doing a deal with someone who's also paid for the privilege to do this deal. Right. So we're both putting our credit cards down for, that's a trust layer. But then the other aspect of this is that since there's no fees and I don't need to protect the transaction, I don't need to keep you in My Card Post. I'm okay if you guys delete your cards on My Card Post and then just go meet at a local Starbucks. Like, that's okay. Because, that's not the model. So by having a subscription model, now your profile is open. You can add your eBay store, your ComC store, your MySpace store. Right. You can have your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter profiles on there. I can do my due diligence on you. I can go click on, all your accounts in your profile and go see like, hey, Clark's legit. He sold thousands of cards on eBay.
Right.
Got massive following on Instagram. So, really, I'm just like whittling away at my concerns about you. So I have a higher probability of confidence that you're also a legitimate person who intends to be, trustworthy in this transaction. But beyond that, it's also about building repetitions with people, making friends. I want to build a relationship with you. I want to do many deals with you. So we'll probably start small, right? And I've done this many times where let's just do a quick little small trade.
Right.
You don't send me the $20 card, like I'm not going to sweat it at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But as you start doing those smaller deals and you get more and more comfortable, now you have very little concerns about doing larger deals because you've just, you've essentially made a new friend that you're doing deals with. And I think, that's a lot of the elements to the model and why it's, about trust, about community. We've done some other stuff too. Like we've just rolled out like a verified seller program so that as you've become, mature, you can get that blue check mark that everyone's so used to seeing, right? Again, just, we'll continue to do stuff there, but, that's really the foundation of it.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And I think you made a really good point that in general, a lot of the hobbyists, a lot of the collectors are trustworthy. And, there are a lot of trades still being done on Facebook pages and Instagram and, having one or two vouchers from other collectors. And my card post is just an extra layer. I can totally see that as an extra layer of security. So yeah, that's good to hear. Being in Canada, we always like opportunities where we can trade with our American friends. Sometimes that's a challenge. And, and we're often restricted to local card shows here in Canadian cities. But it's awesome to hear, a platform like My Card Post offering that kind of service to trade with, just a bigger pool of collectors. So love hearing that.
Yeah, and it's super easy to do it, and again, it's like you could think of it as basically as you create your account on My Card Post, you're essentially the CEO of your own virtual card store, if you will.
Cool.
So you just upload your inventory and now you can make deals with anyone across the US and Canada. So
awesome. I just have one last question, and you kind of mentioned at the very end, you're working on having verified sellers. Are there any other features on My Card Post you first wanted to highlight that we didn't touch upon, or you're working on currently and hopefully add that to the platform as well?
Yeah, one of the cool features, actually, we just rolled this out too, because again, the thing about My Card Post is that we want the transactions to be as low cost as possible, right? So, it's a small fixed monthly subscription and you have total freedom, unlimited deals. You're not going to bust your wallet at any of these transactions. So you're really able to kind of keep and protect a lot of your profits from these deals so that you can reinvest and, you can continue upgrading and getting better cards. So, but one of the things is truly the amount of money that people are saving by doing these deals on My Card Post. And we actually just rolled out a fee savings highlight. So as a member of the site, we're just calculating in real time the fees that you're saving on all of your transactions and giving users the ability to see that privately right now in their profile. But actually, I just polled our community yesterday about would you like to see this public? And it was about 70-30. 70 said yes, this should be public for everybody, and 30% said no. So my solution to that is okay, well, we'll maybe give you a profile setting and you have the choice. If you want to display fee savings publicly, just check the box and you can, and if you don't, it's totally okay. Right. So I think showing the amount of money that people are saving in fees, and actually I was sending people before it rolled out because I had some of the data on the back end, hey, here's your fee. They're like, are you serious? I've saved that much money. So I think, again, it's just around the transparency around the number of members, volume of transactions we're seeing in the marketplace. And then what's the total fees that the entire community is saving. And we have that, updated daily on our homepage now. So I think that's pretty cool.
No, I love that. Especially when you are used to selling on eBay. You realize how much those fees add up. So sometimes it's kind of good to see how much you would save.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if on eBay you could see how much did I spend in fees in the last 12 months? Maybe you can. I haven't digged into it.
You can, but they don't make it easy for you to see that number. Sure. So you got to make about 7 clicks before you see that. But
right.
But Mark, good stuff. And anyone interested in checking out the website or signing up can do so at mycardpost.com. We'll provide the link in our show notes below. Mark, thanks for coming on and sharing really useful information about My Card Post.
Appreciate it, Clark. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU@Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.